Hi, this is Samir again, and this is an overview of the latest online update, namely the version 1.6. In this rather bigger update, although it doesn't seem so, the DPIT Effex users receive VRay support. Yes, it was requested a long time ago, and as the request became more and more in the past few months, to render the gaseous fluid, so smoke and fire, inside of VRay, I took the chance and just implemented this support for VRay now. So what you need, of course, is the VRay 4C4D bridge plugin, which you get at the according website. Of course, you also need DPIT Effex, and there you go. So I just would like to show you what is necessary to render smoke and fire in VRay now with DPIT Effex 1.6. So I have prepared a scene here already. It's just an alpha scene that I used for testing this. We have a house here, as we can see, and I simulated fire inside of this wooden house, and the idea was that the fire and the smoke are coming out of the windows, which are already broken up, and the smoke would just rise upward. So just a kind of a usual scene. You can see, just to explain how the scene is set up, a gas solver with a fire and smoke emitter here, and I also have try to approximate the shape of the wooden house here with some obstacle objects. If I turn on the object here, polygon output, we see how this looks like. So just to keep it all simple and to avoid using a more complex dummy object from the polygon mesh of the house, so that fitted pretty well. But alright, let's go on to the point here, and I have a cached solution already in here, so it is loaded when I go in the timeline forward, and which I now do. And you can see that the cached simulation is 360 by 442 by 288 in grid cells, but for the preview now here I'm only using 120, the rest respectively. So it's not the final quality actually, but it's probably enough to check out how it should look like. I also have the gas renderer here still in the scene, simply to maintain or to keep the preview here in the editor, which is actually done by the gas renderer. So we have this simulation now. We can already see it in the preview now here. But instead of the gas renderer, which can of course only be used inside of Cinema 4D, and with the Cinema 4D renderer, we need a custom shader, and this is the improved surface shader that you already know from DPIT Effex. It has been extended to support VRay now. So in the inside of the VRay bridge post effect settings, in the environment tab, you can go into the environment fog option here and turn it on to let the VRay calculate or be able to calculate volumetrics, and that's what we need. I have a custom interface here, so you may wonder why this looks like that. Well, I just rearranged the settings and the fields here and the lists to make more sense when rendering with DPIT Effex actually, so a little more in the style of how the gas renderer is actually arranged. So also here the density tab as we have it in smoke here, for example. So I try to keep it kind of in line. But okay, it's of course not the same, but as everything is defined via the shaders that we put in here in these slots, I would like to call them, for the color would be this here, for the density, and for the optical properties that we also see here, so the shading actually. Well, but as you can see, I already have them in here, and I have some settings already set. As this is not a VRay tutorial, you probably want to set this yourself or look up what these settings actually do to calculate the volumetrics. But first thing we need is, and it doesn't work without, we need a gizmo for our gas solver. And there's a simple solution here. We create a cube object which acts as a gizmo here for DPIT Effex, and we add a FSS VRay gizmo tag here from the DPIT Effex tag menu, and that's actually already it. We just have to link the gas solver here, and you can already see now that it adapts the cube to the gas solver, actually a little more space, just to be sure to catch all these media that is inside the simulation. And that's actually all you need to do. I just hide it here now. And if you're a VRay user already, you just drag it here into the gizmo field. And now we have the support for rendering this, right? So I just go into a little more detail now here. So the first thing, of course, if we have a smoke or fire simulation, or if we have both in one, we always kind of better have smoke there, because there is no smoke and fire tab as in the gas renderer shader for DPIT Effex, but it has all to be calculated in one step, and we always take some smoke even if we just want to render fire. Just a better approximation. Alright, but so you create, as usual, the FSS surface shader from the DPIT Plants and Effects shader menu here, which is already done. So I just go in there, and here we have the settings now. And the first thing we need to do is, of course, drag in here the gas solver, which I already done. I also choose to give me the smoke data, so I extract the smoke from the simulation for the density here in VRay. And one more thing which you need to do is you have to use the UVW coordinate, and just check it when you are rendering in VRay inside of Cinema 4D. You keep it off. Well, and that would actually be it, and you can already right away render the smoke by this. So that's all you need to do. You can now here control the density of the smoke, for example, just with a linear gradient, and that's actually everything you need. We also have a time advection time step here that you already know from the gas renderer too. So also here we have some support of the features. Of course, not all features of the gas renderer can be implemented, because in the end the core renderer that is calculating the visual appearance of the final output is the VRay renderer, and it's not the FX renderer. So only part of the features of the gas renderer could be implemented in this surface shader for VRay. But yeah, that's actually it for the density. You see, it's pretty straightforward and not much to learn here, especially if you worked with the surface shader before. And we do just the same for the other slots here. For example, here in the color field, I also use the smoke for the coloring, and and as I only want the black and white smoke in this case anyway, and the colors come from the sky, for example, or from the fire, that's about it. I just defined here some grading. I could also use a red one, but pretty stupid. Alright, and the same we also do for the optical properties, so for the 3D texture of the emission. In this case I chose here a custom gradient for the emission of the fire. So this slot is, the third slot is always for the fire, for the emission. If there's an emission slot in VRay, which I also renamed here, I choose the temperature here to visualize the fire, and that's actually it. You could also, there's also another mode, the black body fire mode, also from the gas runner known, where you can have some more physical accurate colors for the fire, for the flames, and it's styled just in the same way. And for everything you also can use the flow map noise if you have calculated it in the simulation, the flow map feature. You could also use the flow map here in the VRay renderer interface. Well, and actually the rest is should be known to you VRay users. You can set an absorption distance by setting here, I don't know how the the original name was of this field now, because I got so used to this custom interface now, but well, just take a look at the VRay 4C4D online manual and check out the settings there and what they do, and then it should be no problem. But well, that is actually everything that needs to be done. You see, you don't have to be a magician to actually set this up. Pretty easy, just some settings, activating one checkbox, and then doing your thing, like setting the settings that fit the output that you're looking for. So Effex is just giving you now the chance to render this in VRay, and I know a lot of people are using VRay in Cinema 4D because it's just simply a great render engine. So well, there you go, and just wait now to so this image finishes rendering. Well, of course one could notice that the VRay renderer is well, it's much slower than the gas renderer in rendering, so don't expect too fast results. Of course, here I also use global illumination and multiple scattering, so you can't expect this to be very fast with this type of renderers. And but maybe sometimes it's simply just more straightforward to render everything in VRay if you're rendering your scene in VRay anyway, so why not rendering it all together? So it's a huge advantage, of course. But at any time you can of course also switch to the gas renderer, that's no problem. So this is the final result now, and well, as I told you at the beginning, this is not the final resolution, it's just the lower resolution in the editor. So well, okay, so this was the first thing, the major thing in the online update 1.6 of DPIT Effex.